What's going on, everyone? This is Trevor here for RSG, and you know what we're going to do today? We're going to take a look at something we reviewed a while back, but you know, at that time, I had a new camera, I didn't even know how to use the software, and I don't think I gave a worthy review, so now I think it's time to give this thing a worthy review, some nice up-close shots. We'll even use some shots from before, but I think it's time to make it a lot more interesting and a lot more informative. So if you want to see why I think this Master Case Pro 5 from Cooler Master is so awesome, you know what you need to do? You need to stick around.
Before we get actually into the case, I just wanted to start out with how it comes in the packaging. As you see, that is very good foam. That is not that cheap stuff that makes all that noise and makes you want to cringe every time you hear it. So that is a very good thing. Just want to point out that I got this picture from gameware.co.uk. That is theirs. I'm not trying to take it from anyone. I just needed it as an example. And let's go on to the other part, which I also got from Anantech. This is going to be your package contents, which of course is your manual, which really doesn't tell you much. You have 3 Molex to 3-pin connectors. You have your bracket in the front in case you didn't want to use the 5 1/4 inch bays and you wanted an extra fan. There you go. You also have your zip ties. They're also, you can't really see in this picture, but there is also behind the screws and stuff like that. 2 3M kind of loop things to do better cable management with as well. And then, of course, all your standoffs and everything in the bag of screws. And there is also a standoff tool that you can use with your screwdriver. But this is all the package contents, so now it's time to go into the case.
Getting right into the case, let's start off with the bad. There's only one bad thing that I truly feel about in this, which is the drive trays. Now, the reason why I think I've been spoiled, there was Fractal Designs drive trays are the full metal construction, and I love them every bit of how they are. But now, the thing is, I think they wanted weight a little more as a factor in this, especially that it has handles. So I can understand maybe not wanting to make metal drive trays. These aren't the worst, though. For plastic, I will say they're not bad. I do have a little bit of a thing with, I had a vibration issue with my hard drive. I don't know if that's so much of an issue on other people's cases, but you know, I have had other cases that, you know, I didn't really notice it on, but maybe that was due to fan noise or whatever. So maybe throw down in the comments if you've had that issue with your hard drive making like a vibration noise throughout even the desk. But there's these little rubber grommet pieces that have the metal pieces that hold the drive into the tray. It's a good idea. It works. It's just I'm more for the metal full construction. They're just such a good quality make when they're made out of metal. But I like I said, I think it might have to do with the fact of weight, because everything on this, I will say, is a really high quality. So we have our drive cage here, okay, that I took out. And as you see, there's thumb screws on there as well. Okay, there's thumb screws on every aspect of this case. Every aspect of this case has thumb screws, except for like motherboard screws and fan screws. But for the most part, I mean, anything you could basically imagine has a thumb screw. So take out the expansion slots, thumb screw. You got to take out the PSU. It's actually got a cool thing. I'll show you a little later, but it's actually got a cool thing, and that uses thumb screws. Every piece on the back uses thumb screws. The drive cage uses thumb screws. I mean, they really went all out with the thumb screws. But something cool about their thumb screws is the fact that they don't actually fall out. If you look, they just kind of like hang there. That's all they do. They just hang. Okay? So that is great. That is something that I look for in build in a case that you're buying at that price. That ease of use. I really love the toolless design, although they're so freaking tight on all these. You will need a screwdriver for the first initial, but the toolless design is a great idea. Always love the toolless design. This is a very sturdy case, and any part that is metal and not plastic, there's going to be metal behind, but that metal is steel, and that is some strong steel. I've even seen Luke from Linus Tech Tips stand on top of this when you take this piece off, as I'll show right here. You can take that top off to expose a radiator mount, or you could put 2 100 up to 240 millimeter fans. You could also use 120, but 140 millimeter fans. And I want to say I'm not big on water cooling, so I don't really know the size. I want to say it could take a 240 millimeter radiator on the top, but you might want to check that. And from what I understand, it can also take a 280 millimeter on the front. On the back, I really don't know. I think that would be more like a 120 millimeter radiator or something of that nature that you could put on the back. But I mean, how ridiculous are we going with radiators in this? I suggest just, you know, front and top is where you should be focused for that. Now, when you get the master case, not the pro version, there is going to be no top piece and bracket. It's just kind of going to be flat. But the great thing about this is that this case you can make all types of changes to. You can do an upgrade to it with the maker kit, which gives you like LED lighting, changes out your USB ports on the top, giving you USB-C and more USB 3.0 ports and a really awesome look. Now, the one pet peeve I have about those is a little bit about the price. It's kind of expensive for those. So the maker upgrade kit is $90 alone plus whatever taxes. So that can get quite costly, and I'm not a big fan of having it cost that much, but I'd love to check it out and do the upgrade to that on the channel. I think that would be awesome, and that would be something I really look forward to do, because being able to change around what you want, you can order tempered side panels for this. You can order for both sides tempered side panels. And thinking of the side panels, how awesome is the fact that this is probably the best idea for side panels ever, which is going to be the fact that they can hang off. You slide them and they hang off, and then you could just pull it off when you'd like to. And then when it comes time, you can just put them right back on easily. You don't have to sit there and hold it and make sure it's in the right spot and then slide it over, then realize you didn't get in a spot right and you have to pull it back out. No, they're the easiest to use with that. I love the idea. It was still, I consider, the best idea. As Fractal Design has with the drive trays, in my opinion, Cooler Master really made the smart move with those side panels. I mean, those side panels I rave about, because I've always found side panels to be very annoying, quite annoying. But these side panels really fixed my annoyance. So another part about this is that we have 240 millimeter fans included in the front and 140 millimeter fan included in the rear. And they are quite silent and they do their job very well, because I'll tell you, sometimes the air that this thing is pulling through, especially when I'm rendering a video, you would be quite surprised. And I'd almost want to actually do an airflow test to see how good it is, because this thing is really pulling in a lot of air. So those fans are doing their job good and silent too. I mean, this thing, even at full tilt, is quieter than some other builds that I've had. I mean, this thing is a great case overall. But let's get into the interior. We have our power supply shroud, 2 SSD mounts, and we have 2 grommets above the power supply shroud, and then 3 going up the sidewall for tons of cable management. We also have the board stamped out back there for all of the standoffs that you will need for, you know, wherever you're placing it, as you saw me going up on there. And then also, as you saw, there's thumb screws on the SSD cages right there as well. But the thing I want to just point out is that you will cover up your SSDs by mounting them there. You will not really be able to see them. They cover them from the top, as you might imagine from seeing them there. Taking a look at the other side, the actual cable management is so good, but you see the drive cages down below. That's actually what I use, so I could take the other drive cages completely out and just have it wide open in the front, because if you don't have a lot of hard drives, right down below is a great place to have it. But as you see, with all this cable management room, you have the channel guide, you have the Velcro straps, you have the gigantic spots for the grommets there where all the cables can come through. Everything is managed already very well, as you see, better than some other that I've come across. But you will have no problems when it comes to managing cables in this monster. Let me tell you that now. Taking a look at the front, we have our mesh covered front and there is a dust filter behind, keeping all that unwanted dust out. We have our two 5 1/4 inch bays. We have our power button up here with our two USB 3.0s, our headphone jack, and our microphone for the front panel. But you can change that out to the Maker upgrade, which is awesome. And the power button actually has a little light underneath, and there's of course the hard drive light and stuff like that, but it's a little tiny thing, nothing intrusive, absolutely awesome. Taking a look at the final part here, we have our rear bottom cage for the power supply that they made, which is great if you have a modular power supply, 6 expansion slots, and a 140mm fan, which is completely included. And you'll see that you can slide that up and down, which is a great idea, but those are not thumb screws like I said. That's about it. Everything else is thumb screws though. Alright, I just want to mention before we head out on this video that you should head over to the Cooler Master EU store, because for some reason the US store doesn't seem to have all the crazy stuff that you can get. I mean, you can get things for the top to make it colored panels, you can get colored side panels, you can get tempered glass, you can get full no windows, you can get whatever you want. You can really make this thing your own. Go check out that store. You can get GPU brackets, you can change out the front plate, you can get handles. Oh man, it can just keep going. But I want to thank you all for watching this video. If I helped you with this Cooler Master Max Case Pro 5 decision, I hope I did. And if you have any questions, make sure you leave those down in the comments. You can also hit the like, and if you have a dislike, tell me why in the comments that you dislike this video. Make sure you share it out so people know how cool this case really is. And then also, if you haven't subscribed, make sure you hit that button over there and hit that subscribe button, because you know, subscribing is how you'll be able to see more of my videos that we come out with, right? Yeah, that's what we want to see. So, thanks all for watching. For all who are going to keep watching my videos, I'll see you next time.